Hi guys, it's Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, and I'm here in my self-driving car, heading down to San Diego Comic-Con. And many of you know that that I've written for, oh God, hundreds of hours of science fiction TV, also The Twilight Zone Companion, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, many, many, many things. And I've been a lifelong science fiction fan. And we've just started posting these Mr. Sci-Fi videos. They've been getting a great response. Thank you so much for tweeting and blogging and subscribing and commenting and sharing. All of that stuff is hugely appreciated. So, so the other day I talked about why science fiction matters, and then I talked about why quality matters. And today I'm going to talk about why Comic-Con matters. And I've been going to Comic-Con for many years, and it's changed and mutated over the years. There are over 100,000 attendees. It's a huge event. Now, in the old days, you could run into many of the people who you admired and get to know them and hang out with them. Guillermo del Toro, Joss Whedon, that's how I met those guys, and it led to many wonderful things in my life. But now, it's such a huge event. Those people are kind of cordoned off in VIP rooms and at VIP events all over town. They're not on the convention floor generally. So if you have dreams of hanging out with J.J. Abrams, that's not going to be the likelihood of what's going to be happening. But that said, smaller conventions, the World Science Fiction Convention, the World Fantasy Con, the other events that are held all around the country and around the world, those you can meet actors whom you've loved, writers whom you've loved, and get to know them, hang out with them, share a drink or have a meal. And so if you're a fan of science fiction in any way, I urge you to go to all of these things and just enjoy them. I'm going because my Space Command series of films that my wife Elaine and I are writing, directing, and producing are. We have a big panel Friday night. We've got a big signing with our stars: Doug Jones, Bob Picardo, Mira Furlan, etc. On Saturday, I'm doing a ton of press interviews, dozens and dozens. It's going to be quite an event. There's about 20 of my staff down here just to kind of make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. And we've been shooting our film, and when we get back, we'll shoot the rest of the first film. And we have a new trailer we're showing, and a scene from the movie, and a new poster we're unveiling. It's very exciting. But the thing I love about science fiction conventions is that it's a two-way conversation, and I love that about science fiction. When I was a kid, growing up reading science fiction, my friend Fred Bronson, who also ultimately ended up writing for Star Trek: The Next Generation, when I was 13, he took me to the World Science Fiction Convention, took me to the banquet, and I met my first writer that I ever met at a science fiction convention. That was David Gerrold, who wrote The Trouble with Tribbles, a very famous episode of Star Trek, of the original Star Trek. And ironically, my wife Elaine actually went to college with him and read The Trouble with Tribbles in first draft when she was in drama school with David. So it's very ironic how that all ended up working. And then when I was 15 and 16 and onward through my teen years, I would go to Equicon and FilmCon, these wonderful conventions that were put on by B. Joe Trimble, the fan who basically saved Star Trek. She got the third year of Star Trek greenlit by NBC thanks to a protest. She was leading marches and led a writing campaign, and it worked. It got the show renewed. Nowadays, Star Trek would just have gone Kickstarter, and it would be fine. So, but I started meeting many of my idols at these conventions, hearing them speak, getting to know them. Harlan Ellison, George Clayton Johnson, all these wonderful icons, Ray Bradbury, my God. And you never knew when you were going to a convention who you'd run into, how you'd meet people, what relationships would be formed. So with Comic-Con, I have several rules. It's funny because it is a beast. It is huge on a scale that other conventions aren't, with the exception of Dragon Con, which is on the East Coast, which is another convention I actually like very much. Comic-Con has a different set of rules. For instance, for me, I never stand in line. They don't let you in as a VIP. In other words, I don't get into these events. I just don't go. If I have to stand in line, I won't go to the event, because if I'm spending hours in line, I'm missing the fun of the convention. And many events, many of the larger events, you actually can just walk in because they're in such vast rooms that you don't need to stand in line. For instance, a few years ago, they did a great tribute to Blade Runner with Ridley Scott and many of the lead actors, and I was just able to walk in, and actually I sat in the front row, and it was phenomenal. It was celebrating the 25th anniversary of Blade Runner. This time, a lot of people I know will be at Comic-Con. Some of them I'll run into. Some of them I'm scheduling breakfasts and lunches with. We'll see. It's like opening a Christmas present. You really never know what you're going to get out of it. It's always a surprise. There's always serendipity. There's always new friends that you make, new experiences that you have. So if you are going to Comic-Con, unlike the other VIPs, I'll be wandering the halls. I'll be out. I'll be accessible. So if you see me, please walk up and say hi. I'd love to meet all of you. And And again, subscribe to the channel, like it, share it, just spread the word. We're going to be doing a lot of these videos. And again, thank you so much for spending this time with me. And we'll see you in San Diego, and we'll see you, you on the Mr. Sci-Fi channel very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.